Welcome back to Business of Politics. We're talking to DTI Secretary Fred Pascual. So we're talking about agriculture, but really the end goal really is to sell the products, right? So again, that's where DTI comes in. Can you tell us about your work in helping micro, small, and medium enterprises? Because I suppose what we're talking about also falls under that category, right?
Well, after the farm, you need to do some processing to add value to the farm produce.
Like a final product.
Well, if there are large companies that are going to do it, fine.
Sure.
But normally in various regions of the country, you just have small businesses.
Yeah.
So, and this is already ongoing, you know. We have the OTOP program, one town, one product.
Yeah.
And I've seen their products, you know, they're good. Some airports have OTOP stores, so tourists and Filipino travelers can see them. Then we have, after that, we have the Go Local stores. These are products that have achieved a certain level of sophistication. But I noticed that the scope or the market reach of these enterprises are limited, you know, to where they are. So one solution is really when there is a technology solution to that, you know. It's already available, the e-commerce platform.
The internet,
Okay. But the first step is for us to catalog what's going on. We don't know which and what SMEs or MSMEs are doing what. You know? So we'll catalog and then put them in an e-catalog and eventually use the catalog for purposes of, say, government agencies to scan the catalog and to see which products they need are available from local sources and what quantity. Okay? And at some point, hopefully soon, we'll make it mandatory for government agencies to buy from MSMEs, mainly SMEs, if the products are available locally.
But
the government is the biggest spender, you know, biggest consumer in the country, and we still import, you know, some of the things government is using. But if purchase or the market can be assured, the MSMEs will help the small businesses to gear up and increase their production capability and achieve a certain level of quality so that they can supply the requirements of government.
Well, I was going to say, Secretary, that the Magna Carta for MSMEs, doesn't it already require all government offices, for, you know, all the way from the national government all the way down to the local governments to set aside 10% of their procurement budgets for MSMEs? But
yes, we're trying to track that, but no.
It's been forgotten,
Yeah, but that's 10%. I'm thinking of more than 10%.
More than that,
Yeah. And the problem with, I'm not sure, I'll check this, whether it's mandatory or just give a margin of preference in the bidding process. What we want to happen is that it's not just a margin of preference, but actually a requirement for them to procure locally if it's available.
My recollection, Secretary, is that it's mandatory, but here's the problem that I heard of. I don't know if this is the same situation forever, but the Department of Education, I think, was trying to procure desks made of bamboo.
Yes.
Except that when they were facing Congress during their budget hearings, they're saying there were no suppliers who were able to qualify for the bidding. I don't know whether or not that particular procurement item was too large for any single MSMEs to fill up, but they were saying that nobody came forward. I mean, what do you think is
That's
the problem?
precisely what we want to address through an e-catalog. So we will have a view across the country what's available. Right now,
we have no idea.
No idea. You know, government is required to procure, but from whom? Where? It's the information is not available. So we want to address that informational gap. You know. So government, there is that law requiring mandatory purchase of up to 10% of their budget can be realized. We need to develop the means to make it happen.
The other thing that's in that law that's I think talked about more often is the provision that says that financial institutions should set aside 10% of their total loanable funds for MSMEs. But I think for that particular provision, there was an ending year, and I think it's already passed. I mean, it's, but even then, it was never complied with. So
I think that's an alternative to the Agri-Agra
I see.
loan, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And the problem, again, the banks are not geared to financing small businesses.
Yeah. Well, you should know.
The transaction cost is simply too high.
Yeah.
That's why there is a market for the so-called microfinance institutions, or the 5/6 operators. You know?
Yes.
Because the 5/6 operator will actually bring the money to the borrower, and then collect the money from the borrower, saving the small businessman the high transaction cost of having to go to the bank, transact, and then go again to the bank to repay.
But you are also a banker, before government. Isn't there some structural changes that can be done? For example, couldn't government, say maybe the Small Business Corp, guarantee some, maybe a certain percentage to maybe help ease the anxieties of the banks about loaning to people who don't have the documents or the collateral or the traditional things that bankers require, right, to process loans?
Yeah, there is a field guarantee corporation owned by the government that's in the position to provide the guarantee. But quite apart from the guarantee, technology can really do magic in terms of making borrowers bankable, depending on their track record, which can be accumulated digitally. There will be digitized data on their transactions if they are, for example, on an e-commerce platform. And that record on transactions can be the basis for non-collateralized credit. This is happening. It's already happening, with fintech. Some banks, I will not mention name, but a few banks are already are able to lend without collateral based on data gathered from an e-commerce platform.
And if I wasn't mistaken, wasn't MAP, your previous organization, they were also working on this problem, wasn't it?
Yeah. And there are solutions now, especially with fintech, with digitalization, with e-commerce platform. And we hopefully we can further increase the reach of fintech companies that are going to lend. The first challenge is to get small businesses to adopt the digital payment system. So they'll be included in the formal financial system. And after that, the transactions will be recorded. There will be an accumulation of digitized data that can be the basis for extending credit.
I think one of the things I've heard from BOI regarding the foreign trips was this thing about the Starlink of Elon Musk. Is there some additional details that you can fill us in there with? I mean, I'm sure this is like related to what we're talking about, right?
They've just announced, recently that they're ready to implement, and that will provide connectivity to the remotest areas in the country.
Is that the solution that we're talking about?
That will provide a major solution because the MSMEs that are scattered all around the country, 99.5% of enterprises are MSMEs, And we need them, we need these MSMEs to get digitally connected, so that they can make use of digital payments platforms, e-commerce platforms, and financing through fintech.
Do you think, Secretary, that there's also some sort of social preparation that needs to happen also? Because, when we passed that Magna Carta for MSMEs, obviously the small businessmen have the money, right? They just felt intimidated, I suppose, to go to a bank and fill up the form. I mean, they have the resources. I mean, and from what I understand, they are able to pay, right? So that's not the issue. It seems like there is this mindset that going to banks is not for them. Right, filling out forms is intimidating. Is there a need for that, to address that, social preparation?
I think there is a need to, train the farmers or the small businesses, businessmen about the wonders of technology and how they can transact without having to go to the bank.
Yeah. Because they have no trouble paying the 40% from the 5-6, right?
So, that's right. So if they know that they can save, they will deal.
Yeah.
It has been tried before, but there was no support from by technology. Like remember the money shops set up by one bank before?
Yes.
Still manual dispensing of loans and manual collection, tedious. Now all these things, loan releases, collection can be done digitally. With digital payments.
Well, I know MAP, your previous group, was also working on financial literacy. Is that also part of the solution?
Yes. Even DTI has programs
to
familiarize small businesses, businessmen, to the wonders of technology.
Right.
And we have a mentoring program, Go Negocio, where we're working closely with Joey Concepcion, for example, in promoting mentoring among those who know, so that they can teach the small businessmen on various aspects of running a business, including technology.
Right. So, in talking about MSMEs, how do we encourage more people to look into the higher value innovations? Right. When we talk about entrepreneurship in Israel, for instance, they're talking about high tech, and they're talking about their country as a startup nation, and so is Singapore, right? With seemingly small enterprises becoming unicorns, whereas in the Philippines, at least in the past, the focus has been cottage industries. Not that there's anything wrong with cottage industries, but we seem to be focusing on the low value types of entrepreneurship, low value types of innovation, rather than the high tech ones. How can we change that?
Well, firstly, we need to have more technology incubators and accelerators around the country.
Okay.
DTI has negocio centers, which can be where small businessmen can go to learn more about technology. Normally, the high tech thing is normally incubated in a university.
Okay.
So we need to get our university students.
Again, it's a component that has to be.
Right. Like AIM, for example, is now offering an undergraduate degree in digital technology. So which is a big step towards upskilling and reskilling our people. Because that's where growth is. Everything is getting digital. So we better have the people who have the skills, All these things in the fourth industrial revolution technologies are based on digital technology, AI, Internet of Things. So.
All right. Sir, we just have to take another break. You're watching Secretary Fred Pascual of DTI. This is Business and Politics. Please stay tuned.